Good afternoon and welcome to the Tennyson Band Show. I know it's crazy times right now, so I wanted to offer some instruction in a more lighthearted way. So I'm going to start off with my monologue. These are just a couple of jokes that I came up with, and I'm not very funny, so feel free to laugh or not. So the first, and there's our clock. This virus is kind of killing us slowly, right? Am I right? Telling a whole lot with his words, killing me. You can't see right now, but Bella is back here behind the bar jumping on me. Sorry, sweetie. Okay, so this virus is a perfect excuse for your family and your friends to keep their distance from you when you pick up your instrument to practice. They tell you they're social distancing when in fact they're just running away from your terrible sounds. How many of you are learning how much your parents truly love you? When you start practicing, how many of your parents say, "Oh, you'll be fine, just go outside to practice"? But to their credit, back when we were young, like, we lived with lead paint and rust and drank from the tap, and we're still alive. So anyway, but this is pretty serious. This whole sheltering in place is really distinguishing between the introverts and the extroverts. The introverts are loving this, while the extroverts are like, "Oh my God, the world is ending." This virus and sheltering in place is affecting your pets too. Like right now, Bella's going nuts. But most pets are like, "Why are you here? You are interrupting my daily 5-hour nap time." Please go away. And what about this distance learning? On the one hand, there is no dress code, and you can set your own schedule. On the other hand, the rest of your family has no dress code and can set their own schedule. As a musician, how many of you are singing a song when washing your hands for 20 seconds? It's suggested to sing the happy birthday song twice when I'm over here singing, "I will survive, oh, as long as I know how to love, I know about getting alive. I've got all my life to live, I got all my love to give, I'll survive, I will survive, hey, hey." It's much more fun than the happy birthday song. Have you noticed way more people taking walks around the neighborhood lately? We're told to stay home and everyone's like, "Let's go for a walk." I've heard some stories that there's total panic and awkwardness when people are running or walking and they see someone else. They like stop 10 feet away and slowly walk around each other, keeping your distance. It's kind of weird and awkward. And how about this new way of greeting one another? No more handshakes or hugs. At first it was a fist or elbow bump. Now you can't even do that. So it's like this creepy eye wink or awkward wave. Is this really the new greeting? So, Tennyson Band Show viewers, I started a hashtag this morning called "Distance Learning in 2 Words." And posted it on our Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, and Instagram to see what kind of responses we would get. So I'm going to read those to you now. First off, we had sleep in. I agree with that. My sleeping schedule has been totally off lately. Messy hair. I've been seeing all over social media that most of us females are going to just throwing a hair up in a ponytail or a bun, and I'm sure guys aren't even brushing their hair. No uniform. I'm sure students are happy about that. And along those same lines, we had pants optional. Okay. We had pajama education. I agree with that. Why even get out of your pajamas? I mean, come on. And the abbreviations are PE. And then some more serious ones. I had lonely learning. Well, how many of your extroverts are feeling pretty lonely? Isolated education, self-discipline, self-driven. From one of my students, I heard efficient and convenient. That's a positive look to that. And then flexible hours, so true. With your sleeping schedule messed up, you could be doing work late into the night, and that's fine. And then mean boss, like you're your own boss, and as an educator anyway, you're your own boss, and sometimes you gotta be mean to yourself just to get things done. Or maybe your boss is your parent, and they're having to be a little bit mean to you because they're stressed out and they're trying to get you to do stuff. So if you guys can think of any other distance learning in 2 words, please add those to the Facebook page or to Instagram, and I'll see what other ones that I can add. So hope everyone's doing great. All right, Tennyson Man students, we are going to talk about dotted quarter notes as promised. So with the dot, we know that it adds half the value of the note to itself. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this. I'm just going to hop up here, I think. Okay. So we know that quarter notes are 1 beat in 4/4 time. Because 4/4 time, 4 beats per measure, and the quarter note gets the beat, right? So if we wrote in the counts, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Since a quarter note is 1 beat, if we add half the value of that to itself, we're adding a half a beat. So we're going to break this down into eighth notes for a second to help us figure out how to count dotted quarter notes. Take off this marker, it's just getting in the way, and this magnet. Okay, so we have our 4 sets of eighth notes, and we would count that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if we have our dotted quarter note over here, what we're doing is essentially tying these 2 together to get our quarter note, and then we need to tie a third one together. So if we were just looking at this up here with this tie, remember a tie lengthens the note, then we're going to have big 1, little 2, little, or big 1, little, and little 2. And then you have your big and 3 and 4 and. So this would be 1 and 3 and 4 and. So at any rate, this quarter note, you're going to have your big 1, your little and. This dot is essentially 2. We're stealing from the next beat. And then we have a half of a beat left over. So that's just going to be a single eighth note. And then, so I'm not drawing all these eighth notes right here. I'm just going to do 2 quarter notes. So I'd have my big 1, my little and, my little 2, big and, big 3, big 4. Count that rhythm with me. Ready and count. 1 and 3, 4. Again and count. 1 and 3, 4. Okay? This eighth note could be an eighth rest, which would then change this into just being a silent count. So 1, 3, 4. Or if I were playing it, da, da, da. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to erase all of this. Let's go ahead and move that dotted quarter note to beat 2 and see what it's like if we move it. Actually, before we do that, let's turn it around, because when you have a dotted quarter note, you have to have a half a beat attached to it. So instead of having dotted quarter eighth note, let's go ahead and see what it's like if we put an eighth note first, followed by a dotted quarter note. And we'll still have our 3, 4 right here. So if I'm writing my counts, now I'm going to have 1. This is only an eighth note, so now this is and. I've got to have 3 eighth notes in this beat. So one of them is the and. The second one is a baby 2 and a baby and. And then I have my 3, 4. So this would be 1 and 3, 4. Ba, 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 ba. Go ahead and count this with me. Ready and count. 1 and 3, 4. If we're lining this up with our foot tap, the eighth note is when our foot goes down, and then our foot goes up on and. So our foot's coming up on this note, it's going to go down, back up, and then it goes down on beat 3, up, up, through the and of 3, down on 4, and up through the and of 4. So down, up, down, down. 1 and 3, 4. When we have a lot of notes that kind of come on the upbeat, like this right here, that's when we get into what we call syncopation. And I know a lot of my students have heard me say that word before. And the jazz band students use syncopation a lot. That's when you play on the upbeats a lot, on the ands. Kind of gives it more of a funk feel almost. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about moving our dotted quarter eighth note pattern to beat 2. So for right now, we're going to put a quarter note. If I were teaching this live, I would ask, what else could we put on beat 1? And I would hear answers like quarter rest, 2 eighth notes, eighth note, eighth rest, and all those answers are correct. So let's go back to having the dotted quarter note first. So remember, when building your measures, they have to add to 4 right now because we're talking about 4 4-time signatures. So this quarter note would be our beat 1. And then the dotted quarter note happens on 2. Baby and, this dot is 3, and then this is our big and, 4. Go ahead and count this with me. Ready and count. 1, 2, and 4. If this were an eighth rest, oops, then that's just silent. Count that with me. Ready and count. 1, 2, 4. Okay, let's go ahead and flip our eighth note and dotted quarter note now. So this would be 1. This eighth note is beat 2. Since it's only an eighth note, this is and, baby 3, baby and. So this is 1, 2, and 4. Count that with me. Ready and count. 1, 2, and 4. All right, and then let's go ahead and move the dotted quarter eighth to the end of the measure. So right now we're going to keep quarter notes. We could have a half note, a quarter note, quarter rest, any pattern of eighth notes, a half note, anything that adds to 2 at the beginning. For all intents and purposes, we're doing 2 quarter notes. And then we're going to have our dotted quarter note and an eighth note. So this dotted quarter note happens on 3. You have your baby and, this dot is 4, and then big and. So 1, 2, 3, and. Go ahead and count that with me. Ready and count. 1, 2, 3, and. And typically you'd have a measure and you'd have something over here on count 1. And then we're going to go ahead and flip our eighth note and dotted quarter note so you can feel that syncopation more. So this is 1, 2, 3, and we'll go ahead and put a whole note. So big 1, little 2, little 3, little 4. Go ahead and count this with me. Ready and go. 1, 2, 3, and 1. So the video got cut off because there was a call from a spam that went in while I was recording my video. So I just had my sign out basically that I needed to add to the end of this dotted quarter note lesson. I just reminded you guys that we added the dotted quarter eighth note pattern to the end of our articulation exercise to help us continue to practice that, because that is the most common missed rhythm in middle school and high school band. So don't forget, after you do your 16 notes, 1 eanda, 2 eanda, 3 eanda, 4 eanda, you're going to rest, and then you're going to play 1 and 3 and 1. Don't forget to put a slight lift between the dotted quarter note and the eighth note. I tell my students to put a little breath almost on the dot, and that helps define the rhythm. The upcoming lessons that I will be recording in the next week or so and hope to get uploaded to the website are going to be more instrumental videos. There'll be one for my saxophone students, one for the oboe students, one for the bassoon students, and then I'm going to record one general one for the brass with my trumpet. Mr. Lemons has shared a playlist with his beginners to help them continue to learn. And then I just advise everyone to go online and use all the resources available to you. I'm trying to upload as many as I can. Those of you that have smart music, you have a wealth of stuff that you can be practicing. If you see a title of a piece that sounds interesting, try it out. Learn new stuff. For the honors band, we were going to be working on some pop music after UIL. For the beginners, I need to upload the solos and ensembles, because that would have been coming up first. Yeah, so just I encourage you to continue to check the website every day and see what new stuff there is up there. If there is anything, don't forget to check the journal to see what new information I have posted there. If there really isn't anything, I'll just say there's not really any updates today. Yeah, I love and miss you guys. I hope you're staying safe and being productive. It's a whole new world that we're all kind of learning to navigate right now. So anyways, that's basically it. Y'all take care. Bye.